There's some really cool inner child healing happening for me right now through reparative experiences, I think I'd call them, as an adult. Specifically, a core inner child wound of mine is not feeling seen, feeling socially excluded, feeling like I couldn't find people who really understood or got me or spoke the same language as I did even. I spent a lot of my childhood, most of my life really, feeling quite lonely, feeling quite alone in my experience, and feeling like there weren't other people like me out there. So a beautiful thing about the healing journey that I'm walking is that I'm intentionally seeking out and pursuing and consciously placing myself in situations where I can be seen and finding spaces where people who are like me do exist. Because that's the truth of it all, is that none of us are alone. None of us are alone. Okay, I gotta stop and talk to you for a second. Something I realized through teaching and opening up group dialogue space with other people just in that container was how interconnected all of our experiences are. So many of us go through tough times or feelings of being alone, being isolated, not talking about it. We don't talk to people about it, and therefore we believe we're the only ones who are having that experience. That is not true. In fact, it's like the entire opposite. There are so many people who relate to those feelings. There are so many people who relate to the experience of feeling like they were the only ones having a particular difficult experience, the only ones struggling in a certain situation, the only ones who felt like they couldn't fit in, couldn't get it, couldn't perform at the same level as other people. Like, we are so not alone. And if you have the space to, you can consciously choose to seek out spaces that reflect that back to you. And what I'm finding is that it is so nurturing for my inner child to have these reparative experiences where I'm expressing something from the heart and I'm being mirrored back by other people who have felt that same way. Oh, there's something that is really feeding my inner child about that. And I completely believe it's because it's providing me the attunement that I didn't get as a child, that I always needed, that I believed therefore wasn't possible, wasn't available. There weren't other people like me out there. So now as an adult, I'm having these experiences where I feel deeply attuned to and I feel deeply connected to people and I feel complete belonging, even if it's just temporary in certain spaces. In that moment, I feel something my inner child so desperately wanted to feel and never could. It's like bringing up energy in my chest as I speak about it because it's so powerful. It's so healing. I was in one of these spaces last week, I think, a couple weeks ago. And it was me and a couple other people, and we were having some of these conversations and dialogues about ways that we've always felt alone, ways that our inner child grew up feeling isolated, not having their needs met. And we were talking about this idea of wouldn't it be nice if we could travel back in time and be sitting around a campfire right now and looking up at the stars and knowing that we're not alone in these experiences. And even though that's something that didn't actually really happen in my experience, to part of me, it feels like it did happen. To part of me, it feels like it did happen because we were able to share that resonance. And through that shared resonance, I felt the same feelings of connection that I would have been able to as a child sitting around that campfire. So I want to share this just because feelings are reality. And the stuff that we feel, it changes our reality in the same way that the stuff that we actually experience. Our body doesn't actually know the difference between things that we're imagining and things that we are literally experiencing in real life. This is why it can be so traumatizing to tap into some of the catastrophic, traumatizing stuff that's happening in the world, because many of us, especially those who are more sensitive, we end up experiencing it as though it's happening to us. So we can use that same tool, we can use that same tactic for healing, by seeking out spaces to give us the restorative, reparative, emotional feelings that we needed and didn't get when we were little. This is the healing power of community, because we can co-create spaces together like this and offer each other a type of healing that we can't do by ourselves. In that little group of the three of us, I'm still so touched. Like I could cry just thinking about how special that experience was for me. And I know it was just as special to the other 2 people in that group because we were able to process and talk about that. So I get to move forward knowing how unalone I am on so many different levels. And I'm watching this for myself because as I collect more and more of those experiences, I'm seeing that it is changing some of those core wounds within me. I'm seeing that it is healing that. And so I know the more I can cultivate that kind of an environment for myself, the more I can call forward that kind of a space, the more healing there's going to be for myself and for the other people involved. Because again, there's so many of us who feel this way. So that's my invitation for you, is to think about how you can call in some of those spaces. If you already do have those spaces, how can you lean in more? I'm gonna share in the description below some of the spaces that I've been finding connection in. So if you wanna seek those out, you can too. Also follow along because there's gonna be ways for us to co-create that together in the future. But I just want you to know that the things that you felt, the pain, the childhood wounds, the traumas that haunt you, it's not permanent. It doesn't have to be permanent. We can choose healing. We can cultivate healing for ourselves. It's not an easy overnight fix, no. It's a gradual process we walk with time. And I'm a living embodiment, a living example that it pays off. So I'm sending your inner child a hug. Maybe you can imagine us around a campfire. And I'll see you on the next one.